guys, it's Leanna. You know me as LiLi from Don'tHateTheGeek.com. I am a writer and editor, focus a lot on collectibles and figures, but I write a little bit of everything because that is what makes a writer, which brings me to just these little tidbits of thoughts that I had today. I've been writing for, a little bit about me, I've been writing for anywhere between 10 to 15 years now. Even when I was a child, I just wanted to write. I was always writing little short fan fictions. I remember when I was like 13, I was writing Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Inuyasha fan fictions like crazy. I just knew it was always something I wanted to do, whether it was fiction or news or opinion pieces. I knew I wanted to work with words. And a big question I get asked by my contemporaries, my friends, my family is, how do you become a writer, and how do you feel about giving yourself that title? I just started writing. For me personally, to get into it, there's no one way to become a writer. You write, therefore you're a writer. You don't have to be published. You know, a lot of people will disagree with me that you earn the title writer only once you've been published and publicly recognized. But to me, you know, writing is so much more than that. It means so much more than that. And just write, whether it's fan fiction or you're starting up a novel that you've always dreamt of writing about, or you're writing for news sites like Don'tHateTheGeek.com or, other news sites like that. No matter what your scope of your craft is, just you have to start doing it in order to become that. There is a thing that people have always asked me. There's something that people have always asked me about, my journey of being a writer, and it makes me wonder, what really am I getting out of it? I obviously love writing, but so it really just made me think about what being a writer has taught me, which brings us to our little audio cast today, which is not going to be a long one unless I start rambling, which I'm not going to try not to do. But it's just something that, it really made me think. I was sitting out on the porch with my cup of coffee, and I had my little Vista in my hand as I was doing some remote play with Bloodborne, and it kind of hit me that this was something I wanted to talk about. So we're going to talk about it. Yay! For one of the things that I've learned as a writer in many mediums is that no matter what you do, someone's gonna be mad. And this has nothing to do with being PC or everybody gets offended, because I'm not negating anyone's feelings. But there are people and there have always been people, it's nothing new by any means. There are always going to be people that are looking for a reason to feel like they have a justifiable crusade. You can be objective, subjective, you could be right, wrong, you could be made of solid gold or descending from the heavens themselves. Somebody's gonna get mad. And you know what? That's okay. Let it roll off of you. Keep doing what you love to do. And as long as you have your writer's integrity and you are upholding your own moral code, then that is fantastic. And, keep doing what you're doing, and, just realize that people being upset, that just comes with the territory. Just don't be a jerk about it, and you know what you're doing, and if you're in that moral code, and you just stick with that. Another thing, particularly with writing for news articles, I've written for a couple websites, gaming publications, magazines, etc. And one of the things that I've really noticed, especially with news, which a lot of writers hate writing news articles. It is necessary, but a lot of people hate it. Facts change. You can report something, and at that time, it can be true. But, as facts become discoverable, as situations change, as perspectives change, sometimes what was perceived as a fact and had justifiable evidence to support said fact, they are subject to change at any given moment of time, and that's okay too. I really, when the first lesson I really had with that was, it was soul crushing. I felt like such a failure when the facts updated. Everybody was like, hey, you need to update this article. You need to update this article. And I went in, and even though I did my extensive research prior to writing the original article, I still had a hard time not internalizing it and just really feeling like a failure. Which kind of brings me to my next point of what I've learned as being a writer is learn to roll with the punches. There's sometimes you're going to mess up. Sometimes you're going to goof. But more specifically, and this goes really towards writers that are looking to write more opinion pieces, whether it be professionally or in a blog-like environment. But there are going to be days where you're going to pour your heart and soul into a piece. Your blood, sweat, and tears are going to be what create those sentences that you've poured your entire being into. You're going to feel so passionate about things you write, and you're going to be proud. And then you're going to look at it and one person liked it, or one person viewed it, or one person commented. And then you're going to put out an article that you really didn't care about. You were just meeting a deadline, namely news or something like that, but something that you just had to get out, whether it be your boss or you were just trying to hit your own personal quota. And suddenly it's got 1 million likes. But then you're looking at like, hey guys, but look at my piece. I really put a lot of myself into it. Take a gander. It's okay. Don't take it personally. You're going to have those days. And then you're going to have those days that those pieces you put so much of yourself, they're going to get just skyrocketed into the webverse, and people are going to love it and give you praise and be like, yes, I can relate to this. And that's great. But it's okay if that doesn't happen too. Yes, you're writing for a job, or yes, you're writing for your passion of writing, but most importantly, you're writing for yourself, and don't forget that. And that's something that as you move into a professional environment with writing, that is something that is so, so, so easy to forget. Especially since I moved to take on an editor position, I see a lot of my writers that I work with get discouraged, and it kills me because they are so talented and I'm so proud of them. And I just want you guys to know to just don't take it personally. Keep writing for yourself and write what you would be proud of. The thing that I think a lot of people don't realize is writing is a never-ending process. I've worked in a variety of different writing environments. I've worked with very hands-on writing environments. I've worked in very remote writing environments, and I've seen people come in and be like, I've never written a day in my life, but then pump out these pieces that are just groundbreaking and beautifully written and eloquently expressed. And I'm just like, you've never written? But then you've got these other people that are like, I'm a professional writer, and are not willing to listen to any kind of constructive feedback or anything like that. And they are putting out these rudimentary pieces that they're not bad, but they're nothing special either. And I hate to say that because every written piece is special to the person that writes it, but when you're working in a professional environment and you are expected to write at a certain level, people get caught up in calling themselves professionals, and then they think they're above help or they're above growth, and you're not. Growing is constant. You don't stop growing until you're dead, and writing is the same way. Writing is an evolutionary process with the writer. I am friends with so many successfully published writers. They've written book series, they've written bestsellers, they've written wonderfully elaborate comic books, and all of them say the same thing: is never stop learning. And that's probably the best thing I can say, and the biggest lesson that I've learned as a writer is it's okay to keep learning. That doesn't mean anything negative. It means you're investing yourself in your craft, and as you put yourself into that craft, that is what you want. One thing that I see a lot of environments, and when I first started writing, I will admit I was a green-eyed monster. I was very jealous because I felt like as writers so much above me were just pumping out these pieces I couldn't even imagine being able to even begin to articulate. I was never jealous to the point where I was like, oh, I'm going to take them out. No, but I would stew in it quietly. Like, oh, why am I even trying? Jealousy is stupid. And I used to tell myself that all the time is, don't be jealous, Lietta. You're being stupid. Stop being an idiot. Pull up your big girl knickers and get back out there and start writing. It's okay to look up to other writers. It's okay to look to your side of other writers. It is not a bad thing at all. It's not a negative thing to see writers that you admire. There's always someone that you're going to perceive as better than you. There's always someone that you're going to perceive as a little bit further back in their writing journey than you. No one is bad. No one is good. Everyone is just, like I said, in this process of learning. Everyone's journey starts somewhere. It's okay to commend. It's okay to admire another person's work, and that no way lessens your ability as a writer and your success as a writer. You know, as I've written in all these different environments, I've really come to the point where I would not write for a couple days, and I would notice it would kind of get me in this funk where I would just be presented with this writer's block, and I wouldn't know how to get over it. I would blast music, and maybe I'd put in play in a video game to kind of get those juices flowing by immersing myself within a storyline. And one of the tricks I've learned as a writer, and this is something that being a writer's taught me, is write every day. Every damn day. Write within your comfort zone. Write way the hell out of your comfort zone. I don't care if it's a news article or this elaborate opinion piece, or if you're just talking about what color bread is. Write, write, write. Never stop writing. I don't care if it's a paragraph. I don't care if it's a 30-page manifesto. I want you to write no matter what. If you are interested in being a writer, write every day. No one is above writing a paragraph. No one is above writing a manifesto. No one is below writing a manifesto. If this is something you want, write, 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 write. And that is something that really is taught me. The writing has taught me is that it's a continuous process. It never stops. So write, write, write. Writing has also taught me how, and probably most importantly, has taught me to look at things, at the world, from a billion different perspectives. I live stateside in Chicago. Grew up in New Orleans. I was in the military. I was Navy. I worked on aircrafts. I have a lot of cool experiences. I, did a lot of the vampire stuff that comes with New Orleans territory. I've dabbled in many religions. My mother was very into travel. She took me to Trinidad, Tobago. We went to Europe. I then went to Europe later with friends and just traveled all over with nothing but a backpack for months, and, a lot of cool learning experiences. And the entire time I was writing. So seeing my progression as I experienced these new experiences was amazing. But, learning those different perspectives is not just about going and seeing these perspectives. As a writer, you have to mentally put yourself in the mindset of pretty much anyone. Whether you're, if you're writing a fictional piece, say you're writing, Anne Rice did a book series on Jesus as he was growing up, and she had to put herself, this 60-plus older woman, had to put herself as a child Jesus. You don't get to do that just by pulling it out of your ass. You get it by really exploring and delving into perspectives. And this is even applicable to news articles as well. As you're looking for something to report, you have to look at, is this interesting to just one demographic? Is there a way I can take this one piece and make it interesting to multiple demographics? By learning different perspectives, it not only helps you in fictional writing, it not only helps you in non-fictional writing, news, opinion pieces, but it really does teach you different perspectives in life, and that's what it's all about. You're going to have jobs where you're going to work with people that do not hold the same values as you do, or do not have the same experience as you do, and you can now, writing has taught me how to really appreciate the different flavors the human race comes in. And that's something that writing and being a writer has taught me, and it's something I will always carry with me. It's a very important, valuable lesson. More to the aspects of the function and more professional side of writing, and I get into this all the time because I've always loved fictional writing. So for me, it was important to note that not everything has to be a novel. It's okay if you're doing an opinion or a news article and it's only 2 paragraphs, 3 paragraphs. Everything can be shortened. Everything can be elongated. It's okay to play around with your format. There's no one right way to write. So, if, like, for myself, I love to make things long. I love to make things thought out. I like to put a lot of my personality in my writings. And just because I play with the format and maybe shorten a piece by 25-30%, that doesn't make me any less of a writer, and that doesn't take away from the message. And that's something that is really hard, because nobody wants to hear that they write too much, and nobody wants to hear that they write too little. Just play around with your format. Like I said, there's no one right way to write. So just play around with it. Look to see what's necessary, what's unnecessary, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense. Writing is a beautiful thing. Writing inspires creativity. Writing inspires a new worldview. And, big thing that writing has taught me, and being a writer has taught me, is always seek inspiration. Never stop looking for inspiration. Writing is an evolutionary process. One thing that keeps life interesting is just constantly being in this state of awe and inspiration, and sometimes it doesn't land in your lap. Sometimes you have to go out and look for it, and that's fantastic. And being a writer has taught me how to go out and seek actively inspiration, and that's always kept my mind fresh. It's kept my experiences fresh. It's just made me extremely, extremely happy and very lucky to call myself a writer. And I can't even imagine not being in that state anymore. When I was younger, when you're in high school, everybody thinks that they've got it all figured out, and adults are stupid. Why don't they just think like us? And as I'm approaching 30, I laugh at how I used to think when I was younger. But inspiration is not a chain. Inspiration isn't a cuckold. Inspiration is beautiful. It's limitless. It's ever expanding. And so you should never stop trying to find that. And writing really gives you the freedom to do that, and gives you the drive to always seek for inspiration. Now, my favorite thing that being a writer has taught me, and I'm looking at all my college professors in the past, and everyone who puts, deadlines on you as you grow older, is procrastination is my best friend. When you're growing up, you always hear that procrastination is bad. It's inhibiting. Don't do it. But you know what? I feel that rush of feeling that impending deadline, that really has fueled these creative juices that I never even knew I had. It's like this untapped resource. I'm about to throw out a Dragon Age reference, so bear with me. But it's like lyrium to a Templar, or mana to a mage. For your Super Mario Nintendo bros out there, it's like the badass star from the Super Mario games. It's just this untapped resource that's fantastic. Am I saying procrastination is for everyone? No. But being a writer, as if you're looking to be a writer, or what being a writer has taught me, is that procrastination isn't this big bad boogeyman that growing up is being made out to be. Sometimes it can be good. Learn what works for you. If procrastination works for you, as long as it doesn't infringe on you being able to do your job or to achieve your goals, embrace it. And procrastination can be a very powerful tool in your writer belt. And it's play with what works for you. Play, your limits, and always push those limits. And as you push those limits, you will find what you can and cannot do, and you will find that hidden reserve of creativeness that's beautiful, and it's going to be awesome, and it'll really help you in your path to become a writer or continue your path of already being a writer. Probably the last thing, and I've kind of touched on it a little bit with the first point I made about somebody's going to be mad no matter what. But never put yourself down. There are always going to be critics, there's going to be haters, and then there's going to be people that are genuinely looking to help, giving constructive criticism. When you hear criticism, don't just shut down. Whether you shut down because you feel like a failure, or whether you shut down because you're defensive and you think you know everything. Never shut down. Take it in, soak it up like a sponge, and be able to compartmentalize, like, okay, this was constructive criticism. This was this person just being an asshole. You'll be able to do that within your own mind without it negatively affecting your person. Like I said, there's always room to grow, and constructive criticism is a huge tool in learning how to grow as a writer. So don't ever shy away from it. Don't get defensive. Don't get your hackles, up. But also don't let the people that are just genuinely looking to hate on you, don't give them the power to crush your writing goals, and don't give them the power to make you feel less of a writer than you are. Take everything anyone says to you, whether it be good or bad, and take those as a tool to make yourself the writer you've always wanted to be. For myself, in my journey of writing and playing with all the mediums of creative writing, news articles, would do with my degree. I was doing a lot of business monologues. I was doing a lot of marketing schemes and polls. I've done so many different facets of writing, whether it be writing with numbers or writing with lyrics. I used to be really big into poetry. I've been published a couple times with poetry. I used to write songs for a lot of my buds that were in bands. As a writer, I felt like it was my duty to explore every facet of writing, even if it was something I wasn't uncomfortable with. Obviously, I hate numbers. I will never like math, and nothing you can say to me will make me like math. But, writing, the marketing schemes with those numbers, that taught me another aspect of writing that I didn't already know. And it let me see, I can do things I never thought I could. My marketing schemes were, not to brag, but they were legit. And, I never, before I had done it, I would never think I could do that. If somebody told me to write up a marketing scheme, I would have laughed and be like, psh, who do I look like? Hell no. I'll give you a video game review. I can give you that. So pushing those boundaries are awesome. But it's definitely been an uphill, downhill battle through the years of finding my style, getting back up when I've been kicked down, and but looking back through my evolution, my own personal evolution as a writer, and what it's given to me as a person, as a human being, as a member of society, and as a writer in the creative world, I wouldn't trade it for anything. Being a writer means everything to me, and I will never ever stop, and no one will ever take that away from me. So hopefully that helps anybody that is listening who is interested in becoming a writer or interested in delving more into writing, or for people that have been writing for 40 plus years and just wanted to hear some stupid chick ramble. So hopefully that helps a little bit. I'd love to talk, feel free to post comments or anything. I would love to talk to you guys. It's something I'm obviously very, very, very passionate about. So hopefully this rang a chord with somebody out there. It wasn't just me rambling. So, thank you so much for hanging out with me, and don't forget to check out other writers as well. We've got some awesome content on the site for you guys. We do news, we do opinion pieces, we do reviews, we do giveaways, we do everything. So you'll see a lot of those different writing styles on the site, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and we will catch you guys